the next step into building our house would be adding in doors and windows. But really there's two different, let's say, theories in how to do this. And so in this video, I'm quickly going to explain each one of them, as well as the pros and cons and which method I am currently using. I'm always looking for the best way to do this, but let's get started and show you. So this is our model up to this point, and as you can see, if I move into the model, my exterior walls are built, as 8-inch thick walls, which is great for models. It gives a lot of detail, especially once we get doors and windows in. You can kind of see inside. The other method of building a house would be, let's take these pieces here. Maybe we'll copy them over. And what we're going to do is I'm going to draw this in and draw this in, and essentially we're going to get rid of the hollowed out version and basically have just a shell instead of walls. And I'll show you why this is important in a second. And doing SketchUp models as a shell instead of walls can definitely be very efficient when it comes to designing. Again, there's going to be pros and cons to both ways. So let's leave it just like that. So really from the outside, these look the same, but as you can see, maybe I'll even take this and make an additional copy just so we can deal with these two side by side. So you can really see the difference between the two. One is walls and one's a shell. So now getting back to why this is important, I'm actually going to explode these just because components don't work on groups. They have to work on exploded, or not exploded, but you have to be at the surface level for them to work. And by that I mean, let's look at our casement windows, and say we'll grab this window here. I'm going to hit Control C, come back, and if I turn this into a group and paste it, you see nothing happens because this one's a group, this one is its elements, and if I click on the face and paste it, you see that my component now cuts through. So that's the only reason why I exploded them. Not that you have to explode it, because I could take this group, double click, go inside, and then paste, and you see it works. You just need to paste on the surface level, not the group level. So with that out of the way quickly, let's say that we want to add a window in right over here. I'm going to hit Control V again to paste it in, and you can see that we now have our window in. I'm going to do it there as well. So here we go. So you can see that in both instances, whether it's the shell or the walls, the window cuts, and that's great. That's kind of what we want. But where the difference really happens is the window really only cuts a single surface. I can't cut this back surface, so my walls don't get cut on the back side, only on the front side, which is why it works well here. But when you're looking in, you're actually looking in at the back side of SketchUp, which is the blue face, and it's just not really what you want when it comes to a refined model. Again, from a design perspective, if you're just trying to quickly go through and explore things, this is a fantastic way of doing it. But if you're trying to do a more refined model, it doesn't quite work on this method. And so ultimately what we're going to do, let's delete this window. I'm going to turn this back into a group, and let's say we're going to copy this over and put it back right where it was. What I would then do is I'm going to go into my group, and now I'm going to draw a rectangle around the window and simply push pull, And so now you can see if I turn everything else off, I physically cut that wall, and the window sits inside the wall. Now again, looking at the pros and cons, if this window needs to move, I can move it, 60 inches or 5 feet to the right. If I need to move this one, it's no longer associated, so I have to do essentially 2 moves to do the same thing. Again, it's all about what you want to accomplish. This is definitely quicker. This is more refined. And really later on, when we start talking about rendering and really building a model for a purpose, if we know we're going to go into a rendering program, most rendering programs, let's reverse this face, when it sees this face, it actually is invisible. And so if you were to look through this window, you would not see walls, you would see sky, because it doesn't recognize the back face of a material, which on this version you would see the wall and the lights would work properly and all that good kind of stuff. So this is definitely a more refined way. Another issue that can come about is, let's say we select everything and we turn this back into a group and we're working inside this group, and we want to add another window here. Great, everything works quick and smooth, and that's perfect, and that's what we want to happen within here. And say we have a similar setup where we have our 3 windows. Now, it doesn't mean I can't leverage some functionality in SketchUp to make life easier in here. I mean, it really isn't too difficult to add windows in and all that good kind of stuff, and even to move them. And really where the advantage of doing this system is, if I need to come in here and edit this house, like maybe I want to take this wall out. This wall is gonna, be butt in. For example, let's say we have like a dining room that we're gonna do like a little window well, or something to that effect. It's really easy to use our solid commands, and I can still cut this because this is a solid command, where this, since the windows are part of it, it's telling me this is not a solid, and it's not a solid because of these windows. These windows render it no longer a solid, and if I come back in here, click everything, turn it into a solid, then my windows disappear. So that's kind of the disadvantage to the shell method, is you can no longer do solid modeling, and at least in the way I've moved forward and found a lot of speed in being able to create models is through solid modeling. I've adopted this method of simply adding in where a window goes, and then just coming in and cutting it out. It is an additional step, both in putting the window in as well as editing, but there still seems to be a refined quality to this, and has too many advantages, for my opinion, in moving forward. Now again, if you're just trying to do a quick study model and really just get some ideas down, there's nothing wrong with this method. It's just really want to show you the pros and cons of what's going on, and really the 2 theories of how to add windows in, and why you would use one over the other for whatever reasons you're working on.